Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dietary Lifestyle Transformation. We are on week 10. We optimize the diet. We're increasing our fasting. We're moving our body. We're improving our overall well being through sleep and emotional care, as well as stress management. And then we are working towards creating lasting lifestyle changes. So, last week we talked about being able to eat anywhere. So, thinking about these compounding effects, just a few high leverage disciplines that we can practice every day, no matter where we are eating, no matter who we're eating with, no matter what's going on, no matter the stressors of life, knowing that if we will take some positive, high leverage disciplines and make sure that we practice those every day, they will compound to continually bring us closer to our goal. Whereas if we just make a couple errors in judgment and we continually repeat those every day, we will move further and further away from our goal. So compounding effects are very important, even when we're eating out, even when we have holidays, even when we have vacations. Think of things that you can do. Last week I talked about learning something each time you eat out, either with friends or family, or at the holiday event, or on vacation. Go into it with some type of goal in mind. And it's typically easier to have one goal in mind and see if that works for you. So go into it with one goal in mind and try to learn something about yourself and how it worked and what you could do better next time, because every time you approach eating out, or eating at a friend's house, or eating at a holiday, or going on vacation, the more practice you do, the closer you will get to doing it exactly like you intend to. Now, a couple things you can keep in mind are preparing ahead of time, making sure that you're not going into it starving, reading the menu before you go, taking something with you to the event that can be helpful, and prioritizing the protein and the healthy fats, focusing on the grilled meats, the fish, the salads, the veggies, trying to swap the carbs out. But we talked about, if you do have the carbs, remember to eat in order. So protein, fat, veggies first, and then carbs, because it really makes a difference in how our insulin responds. Today, I want to talk about fasting through some plateaus. So if you're experiencing anything yet, I just want you to recognize any of these items that I'll list. Recognize if that's you, if that's going on with you, it may be something that's holding you back from going where you want to. And if it's not holding you back yet, but you're starting to see where it could develop into maybe a habit or a problem, you're doing something every so often and maybe you're continuing it, I just want you to check in on these things and recognize if there's anything that could be holding you back or causing you to experience a plateau. And if not now, keep it in mind for the future. You can put it in your back pocket. All right, so fatty beverages are up first. Even if you're in fat burning mode, your body will be fueling off the fat from your coffee or tea rather than your own body fat. So we've introduced fatty beverages as a training wheel. It's something that can help us during our fasting, and it can also hinder us during our fasting. Now, if you want to add a little unsweetened almond milk or half and half or heavy cream, or we've talked about other things you can add to your coffee and tea, um, you can do that. And if you're doing that and you're seeing success, then I wouldn't worry about it. If you're hitting a plateau, you may consider, is the fat in your coffee holding you back? Now, one way that it could hold you back and you could adjust and still keep it is, think about, okay, you could put your coffee or tea in a Yeti and you could fill it with the half and half for the heavy cream, whatever you're using, and sip on it for like an hour or two. And at that point, your body is continually going to use that fat instead of your body fat to burn off first, and you're continually sipping for an hour or two. The first thing you should do is try to check in on how long is it taking you to drink that particular beverage. And you can condense it down to maybe like 10 or 15 minutes. Sit down, drink your coffee, drink your tea, and be done with it. So you're getting that little bump, your body's going to burn that fat off, and then it's going to go back to burning the fat storage. Okay. So consider condensing the amount of time you're drinking beverages that have fat in them, or you can always go black coffee, black tea without the added fat. So there's another option. Think about how long you're extending your drink, and then consider if you're willing to take the fat out yet. That is a training wheel that we eventually want to drop. A true fast, which we'll talk about more. A true fast is water, black coffee, plain tea. All right, natural and artificial sweeteners. We've talked about this one, and I just want to encourage you. It can cause such a plateau. I want to encourage you to start eliminating it altogether. The more sugar, the more cravings. Now, I'm not saying you cannot have sugar on your birthday, or if it's Easter and you want to have a bite of something. I'm not saying that, but on a day-to-day basis, if you're still putting sugar into your coffee, or if you're still adding sugar to your cooking, things like that, let's take it out. We're on week 10 now, and we're ready to go. We've made a lot of progress, but that might just be the one thing that's holding you back from reaching your goal. So natural, artificial sweeteners. Make sure you're looking at your ingredient list because they can sneak them in there. If it tastes sweet, there is something sweetening it. Now, the only natural sweeteners we should be enjoying are our fruit. Our fruits are naturally sweet, but they do not have sweeteners added to them. So you should be really enjoying fruit, because after you get sugar out of your system, fruit tastes 10 times sweeter. Like, that natural sweetness from fruit is so good. So lean on that, lean on the fruits, and try to, on the day-to-day basis, take all the sugars out. Only use them for special occasions. Are you thirsty? Okay, make sure you're staying hydrated throughout the day to curb the cravings, to stay alert, to avoid the headaches. If you're feeling hungry, try to drink some water and wait 15 minutes. 37% of people will mistake thirst for hunger. So are you thirsty? I want that to be the first thing that pops in your head when you're in a fast and you're not quite ready to break it, but you're feeling really hungry. I want you to grab some water, or grab some tea, or grab some coffee. But on the other side of tea and coffee, I want you to be drinking water before and after. I want you to sandwich your coffee and your tea with water, because coffee and tea can be dehydrating, and I want to make sure you're staying hydrated. Tea and coffee can help to suppress our appetite, but I also want you to stay hydrated. So drink your water, drink it plain, drink it before and after tea and coffee, drink it all the time. All right, snacking and grazing is another one. Constantly eating a little food all day long, even the heavy cream, like having that in your Yeti and drinking on it all day long, is going to keep your insulin levels up and keep you in fat storing mode. So remember the plating method. Remember to plate all your food and wait until you're ready to eat to sit down with your plate at a table and eat when it's time to eat. And then when it's not time to eat, we're not eating. Even if we're cooking, even if our kids have stuff left over on their plates, even if our husband or wife or friend didn't finish their meal, that's not a cue for us to snack and graze off other people's plates. And then I know it's so hard while you're cooking, but try to grab something to drink instead while you're cooking. And then if there's a little something that you're wanting here and there, just go ahead and put it on a plate to save for when you sit down and eat. And then eating too late is another one. Meals eaten late at night cause more weight gain. So I want you to think about this as you are adjusting into the fasting lifestyle and you're getting your hours worked out. When are you fasting? When are you eating? And what time does that look like? So the earlier you can eat dinner, the better. The earlier you can eat dinner, the better. And you want to know why? First of all, you're going to have more of an insulin effect if you eat a later dinner, which is going to cause more of fat storing than if you were to eat your dinner earlier. So there's one bonus. The second is it makes your fast the next day even shorter. So if you're eating dinner at 5:30 instead of 7:30, you can think of that like a bank. That's 2 hours off of your morning when you can break your fast, right? So let's say you're doing a 16/8 the next day. You eat dinner at 5:30. That means you can eat at 9:30 the next morning. That's not too bad. I think I did my math right. Yeah. So 5:30, a 16-hour fast would be to 9:30. Or you could push that 18/6 and go from 5:30 at night to 11:30 lunch the next day, which is kind of perfect. I love those hours. I like 5:30 dinner, 11:30 lunch. You could even do like 6 p.m. dinner and what would that put? 8, 9, 10, 11, 6 and 12. Yeah, that's easy math. I should have gotten that faster. 12 p.m. lunch, 6 p.m. dinner. That's kind of easy. So pushing it up as early as you can really does make a difference in your fat storage and your insulin levels and giving you that longer stretch overnight and into the morning so you can break your fast earlier, the earlier you eat dinner the night before. All right, and the last one is nuts and dairy. So nuts and dairy can be problematic because they are fatty foods that are very easy to overeat on. We like them. They're great. They're familiar to our minds. We do want to portion control these things. Nuts, a serving size is 1/4 cup. If you have to measure it out and put it in a baggie, do it. Nut butter is 2 tablespoons. Again, if you got to measure it out, do it. Dairy is 4 ounces a day, which is actually a pretty decent amount, 4 ounces a day of dairy. If you think about cheese, like one serving of cheese is like an ounce. So look at your packages to see how much the serving size is on it. Typically, cheese is 1 ounce, like a slice of cheese is 1 ounce. So check out your dairy. Make sure you're not overdoing your cheese. Make sure you're not overdoing the cream in your coffee. We want to stick to about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons per day if you're going to have 2 cups. Make sure you're paying attention to your sour cream, things like that you're adding to your meals. We want the cheese and the sour cream and the butter. We want those things to be really the cheese and sour cream. We want them to be garnishes to the meal. We don't want them to take over the meal, but really just add a little something to it. So sprinkling cheese over your salads or sprinkling cheese over your soup, that's totally fine. And same with sour cream. But it could be causing a plateau if we're overeating on these things. So you might just do a check-in with yourself and measure out a couple times so you really get the eyeball effect. Oh, okay, that was way less than what I was actually using. It's good to just do a check-in on those. All right, so our goals for this week are to consider any plateau traps that you may be working yourself into, or maybe you're already there, or what have you. Maybe it's something that comes in the future. Maybe you're seeing great progress right now, and in the future you start to see it slow down. There are ways that you can hone in your diet even more by paying attention to those plateau traps mentioned today, and then mindfully adjust. So here's my thing with plateau traps. If the cream in your coffee If you're putting cream in your coffee and you're losing weight and you're seeing progress and you're doing great, I wouldn't worry about it. It's only until you get to the point where you're not seeing the results you want, you should start asking yourself these questions. Am I eating too much peanut butter? Am I adding more cheese than I think I am? Should I take the cream out of my coffee and go cold turkey during my fast? That's when you can start mindfully adjusting and see if it makes a difference for you. Everyone's going to react differently to everything, and then determine if there's a difference. So, same. Is there a difference? Do it for a week. And is there a difference? Do you feel different? Are you seeing yourself getting closer to your goals? Determine if there's a difference in changing those things. All right. And that's all I have for this week. Y'all, thank you for joining me and thank you for allowing me to give you another virtual recorded session. I hope everyone has a happy spring break and you're enjoying some warm weather, even if you're not actually taking a break. But I hope you do get to go outside and enjoy the sunshine. And I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.